the world. Now, the singer was ranked as the 46th best-selling digital artist in the world, a feat most of his colleagues have yet to attain even in their lifetime. Mohbad's songs Peace, Feel Good, and Ask About Me were rated #1 on Spotify Nigeria and are topping across streaming platforms like Shazam, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Music. Turntable Charts reports that Mohbad's music streaming increased by 702% since his death. Of course, we will have joining us, we're going to have joining us K Solo. He will be talking about, we'll be celebrating the life of Mohbad 1 year after. He will be joining us via Zoom to talk about that, of course. But while we get some confirmation of his joining, let's discuss this. Mohbad is celebrated all around the world, of course. Looking at his the streaming platforms and all of that, he's become a matter of sorts since his death till now.
Yes,
people relate with his music, talk about him at every point. Streaming platforms everywhere, the numbers are mind-blowing.
Yes, and I want to read some of the numbers. For Feel Good, and this is based off from YouTube, data from YouTube, Feel Good video garnered 38 million views.
38 million.
Yes, and it was listed as a top music video. Ask About Me was 13 million, also good. Beast and Peace, 4.2 million. Ronaldo, which is not even a very popular song, was 16 million. Then Koma Jensun, that he sang with Naira Marley, 19 million. And Weekend, 4.9 million. I mean, I think, first of all, he was talented. Like, when you hear him singing, when you hear his voice, when you hear his lyrics, you feel a kind of connection. You feel a kind of, you are also entertained. You're not, should I say, entertained into depression like some songs. You are entertained, but you're also taught about life in a way. And then, from there, I mean, I think Nigeria will miss him. The music
definitely. So we've got a confirmation that producer Solomon Oyeni, popularly known as K Solo, is joining us. Has joined at this point. K Solo, thank you so much for joining us at this point. You have been in the nick of things here from the beginning up till now, and you have seen the greatness with which his music has propelled him. What do you think about all of this? The numbers in streaming platforms for Mohbad since his death till now has been astronomical, and of course he has become a sort of a martyr in the music industry.
Okay, good morning. For that, I see that as a norm that actually occur around names, celebrities, and all that all over the world. When there's an issue of demise, you see their platforms grow from what it is to what, because at that moment, a lot of media houses are actually talking about them, personalities are talking about them and all that. It has happened even to people who are not actually as big as Mohbad. Some few days ago, a particular gospel artist, that's a Yoruba gospel artist that I personally do not know personally, actually to left, and in a second, I'm sure his page that was like a 5,000 follower grew all the way to 100K plus, so it's a normal thing that happens. And that's the reason why we personally, I will always establish the fact that you should build your DSPs, whereby at the end of the day, regardless of, nobody plans when death will come, but when it happens, so that people you leave behind can be beneficiary of whatever you have worked for over the years, So those increasing download and streams and all that should go back to your family at the end of the day. So it's not a thing of surprise to me to see that actually happen, because the fact that most songs are songs that people could relate with and they actually love, and plus the fact that the circumstance that led to his death that went viral actually brought a lot of love to him, even than what he had before.
Well, you mentioned something about nobody knows when they're going to go. I want to ask, what do you think the life and the achievement of Mohbad during when he was alive and also after death? What do you think it teaches upcoming artists?
First, like I said, part of the things I think it should teach a lot of upcoming artists is, like I said, make sure you do the right thing. Make sure you understand this music industry, how it runs, and so that when you are no more, every part of your catalog can go through the right source and can benefit your immediate and people who are actually deserving to actually benefit from it. And talk about how he died. There's a lot of lessons to be picked from it. Understanding your contract, understanding the label you're signing with, understanding a lot. And sadly, Mohbad is from a home whereby, they are not too lettered to understand that when your child finds themselves in some certain places, they're actually supposed to be part of it, in terms of not just morally, in legally too as well. All those parts should be part of it, but, it's what it is. It's 1 year, and we are grateful to God that a lot of people have picked a lot of lessons. And despite the fact that Nigerians are not happy or not contented with the results so far in terms of his demise, we are still happy that a lot of people have learned a lot of lessons from this.
So apart from his death and the controversy that surrounded the development, what do you think really contributed to his success? I know he was talented. I know that he signed up to a popular music record. But what do you think really contributed to his, apart from his death?
Okay, what actually contributed to it is me, if you ask me, is the fact that Mo is a boy from the streets, and there's these experiences you gather from the street as a young man. And secondly, I'll probably say is actually his music was revolved around realities of life, and part of the experiences is gathered from his home too as well. You can hear in a lot of his lyrics talking about how he left school, how his dad tried to help him to go to school, how his mom, his experiences with people and all that. So those are actually things that people, in day-to-day activities of humans in life, you can relate with. So all that actually helped him grow. And this is part of what I say to a lot of Nigerian artists. As much as you want to sing about the drinks, the ladies, all that, please do not forget to talk about the fact that there's reality that don't. Even when you are done from the show, when you are back to your various home, a lot of people are finding it difficult to pay their house rent and all that. So these are realities of life, So these are things that I think Mohbad actually put together into his sound that made him different from the lot. And if you listen to his songs, they are reality songs. So that actually helped him outside his death and the label or whatever that he actually found himself.
Okay, so you talk about the fact that despite his death, he's been great, and of course, looking at what he has set for himself, how do we secure the legacies of such such talents in Nigeria, looking at the fact that everything has been going on fine? A lot of people have been listening to his music over time, and he has become a great, or his music is sort of relatable to a lot of people. How can we secure his legacy?
That's a very big question to ask, especially when you understand that the boy himself, there's always one thing I say, as much as we love people and want to show them a lot of love, they all come from different backgrounds as well, So, and when the home front is bad, there is a negative effect on the personality, which is the artist, the artist itself. Check for example, a girl who is from a broken home, and it's time for her to get married, and she's actually more closer to the mother, than the father. And when it's time to get married, they need to go sort the consent of the father. And and seeing the father after they've actually made the love arrangement with the mother and the spouse family, and getting to the father, and then the father is coming up with different agendas and saying, you see what you guys have said is no, that one you have said is no, so it becomes a problem whereby they can't go straight to the point, they can't even achieve the success of the marriage on time. So because of that is part of what I can say that can actually affect the artist or probably the celebrity involved in such matters. And now the other part of it that actually affect that I think is actually a major one is the country that we find ourselves. There's no major body in Nigeria that every artist is attached to, whereby you know that if in Yoruba they say Dada Oleja, Bola Bro Tole Gbejai, you know, meaning that you can't fight, but you have a body you belong to that can stand for you and face some battles. Imagine at the point that he was coming up online every time and talking about how he was being oppressed. Imagine he belongs to a body like, say, MCSN, P-Man, Koson, and all of that. You know that it's a body, you know, so he can weigh on that strong energy to fight for him and probably do a round table talk between him and the label and find a lasting solution. But we don't have that sitting, you know, and as much as entertainment industry is one of the biggest oil block in Nigeria, we are not turning into it yet. You know, you see a lot of influencers come up today and they are skit makers and all that, and in less than a year to they are buying houses and buying, you know, posh cars and all that. So it means there's oil in it, you know. So, and sadly, the old man, I don't want to join myself to this, but the older ones they're still there fighting themselves and not being able to sit together and come up with a master plan and put it up in front of the government and see how it can work, whereby we can be recognized in the world and even in Africa. So we don't have a body that can do all that.
Okay, so
if all that is seated, trust me, Mo is sure that all that he has worked for will not go down the drain.
With what you have said now, what can artists, up and coming artists especially, do to secure their works, their intellectual property?
Okay, now they must not let their stomach dictate to them, because in the real sense of it, stomach has been the problem that's put a lot into these issues. When you look at from a home that is not fine, you know, like a low background, you know, and you just want to leave, you want to escape poverty, and you look at it like, I have this talent and I have this big label that is interested in me. So you see that people come to my DMs and say, bro, I don't care, let's just do this job. I know I'll blow. Once I blow, you know, can do everything 50-50. You hear them say words like that. You even give contracts. Some don't even preview it. They just append their signatures. So for every upcoming artist, if you are doing even a slight in a song for somebody, let it be official. You started to be a paper and pen thing. If you don't have a paper and pen thing, the word is grown to the point whereby, okay, we can do signing through through digital space, you know. So do all that so that you can be secured. And the last part is this: get a lawyer. Even though we know as big as Nigeria is, we can finger count the number of entertainment lawyers we have in Nigeria. We have more. Sorry to say, I don't want to use that name. You know, we have more of other lawyers than more of entertainment lawyers. But the few ones we have, you can approach them, you know, and they can review your contract and tell you these are the clauses, this is what it means. So once you do that, it helps you against futuristic problems. Okay. But like I always say, you can still sign a contract and still be under and sign a contract that is legit and still join that label and still go through what Mo went through.
Yes.
All right, Kesolo, thank you so much. Of course, your insights are always interesting to hear. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning and giving us your own perspective on all of this. Of course, we're still celebrating Mohbad, and of course, we believe that his legacy will live on for generations to come. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you very much. All right, now we move to another.